Welcome back everyone to our Day 0 builds for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Today we have Bishop, Robotics Engineer. Bishop is, as far as I know, one of the main antagonists for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and Legends of the TMNT, as far as I know. If that's wrong, please correct me in the comments. But Bishop is a 7 hand size 22 health character with the inventor trait and evil and void symbols. So, returning evil symbol. Wonderful. As an enhance, we have this attack gets +1 speed for every 4 cards in your stage. So this includes Bishop themselves, and it's not just foundations, so you can get a lot of speed very quickly. And then we have response once per turn. After we check an asset with a printed difficulty of 3 or less, we get to build it. So free building assets, that is so powerful, and there's a lot of cool tricks that we get to do with this character. So this character wants to build a lot of assets, wants to build a huge stage. This is a character who probably doesn't mind going into deadlock as much because you get so much value out of all of that speed. So let's look at our attack lineup. We have Chucking Cars. This is a 6/3, 6 high for 6, 1 high block, ally and ranged attack. Blitz, destroy 1 asset in play. This attack is +X damage, X equals the printed difficulty of the destroyed card. So this can be destroying your rival's assets like an item box or a Cape of No Return or Airy, and then you get extra damage, or you could destroy your own asset if you have a very powerful high level asset that you want to get rid of in order to get a high damage boost. And then another blitz, if an asset in your stage has been destroyed this combat phase, draw 1 card. So it's another reason that we would want to destroy our own assets. We could then draw an extra card off it while giving this card damage. We have Machine Mayhem. This is an 8 difficulty attack, 3 control, 6 mid for 6, 1 mid block, tech and stun 2. Stun 2 is an enhance that says your rival commits 2 foundations. As a static, it says you may commit assets as though they were foundations to pass the check to play this card. So that is huge. That is very powerful. That means that for this card, and something we'll see a little further on, that our assets actually treat themselves as foundations. So we don't have to worry about not building as many foundations if we have these cards in hand and plenty of assets. Next we have Mechazoid Onslaught. This is a 6/3, 4 low for 4 with a 2 low block, ally and tech. It says Blitz, search your deck or discard pile for 1 copy of Mechazoid and build it. So you get to free build a Mechazoid at backup from our deck or discard pile. And then this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each copy of Mechazoid in your stage. So this could become pretty big depending on how many Mechazoids we've built up. We have Technological Advantage. This is a 4/3, 4 high for 4 with a 1 high block and the tech keyword. As a blitz, if there is an asset in our stage, we get to draw 1 card. Pretty simple, pretty cool. We can just draw a card for having any asset in play. Next we have Trigger Transformation. This is a cool one. It's a 7/3, but not quite. 5 mid for 6, 2 mid block, Fury and Slam. As a static, it gets -1 difficulty for each asset in our stage to a maximum of -3. So this can become up to a 4 diff, kind of like how Walk the Dog can reduce its own difficulty. This too can become a 4 difficulty attack. And as an enhance, it gets +1 damage for each asset in our stage. So Bishop's going to give it a bunch of speed, it's going to give itself a bunch of damage, and we don't have to worry about the Mimic and Katsukame enhance because we are neither of those characters. And then we have Cohort Support, a 4/3, 4 mid for 4, 1 low block, ally and breaker 1. Breaker 1 meaning as a response, if we block with Cohort Support, our rival's next check gets -1. And as a blitz, it says your rival makes a check against a 5. If they fail, they lose 2 health. So if they check a 3, and they don't want to lose 2 health, and this can reduce them to 0, they would have to commit 2 foundations. This is also good, maybe you just rip a good check off the top of their deck, and then when they go to block, they check bad. Who knows? It's just a fun little card. 1 low block with Breaker 1 is really solid. So we've seen that Bishop cares about assets, so let's talk about the assets I chose for this deck. We've got Anti-Mutant Neutralizer. This is a 2/5, 1 mid block, tech and weapon. As a response, after you build this asset during the combat phase, draw 1 card. So if we check it with Bishop and then build it, we get to draw a card. That's pretty good. And then Enhance Commit, this attack gets +1 speed and +3 damage. So one of the main issues with Bishop is Bishop can find the speed. You're going to get +1 speed for every 4 cards in your stage, including your character. The issue is damage, so being able to get that +3 damage right here just for committing this card is pretty solid. Next we have Donnie's Bow Staff. This is a 0/5, 3 mid-block with Breaker 2, so if we block with this card, our rival's next check gets -2. And as an enhance, we can just add this card to our hand for free. So if we build it with Bishop by checking it on either our turn or our rival's turn, we have this free Breaker 2 block we can just add to our hand whenever we want. Next we have Airy, a 2/5 with a 3 low block, ally, and unique. As a static, while this card is in our stage, at the start of our end phase, we get to ready 1 non-unique asset or foundation that was not readied during this turn's combat phase. So we go into our rival's turn with at least 1 more resource than we had. And as a response, we can remove Airy and spend 1 momentum. Before the damage step of our rival's attack, reduce its damage to our current health -1. So basically, if the attack was going to kill us, it's actually going to leave us at 1, which can come in very clutch. We've got Twisty Surroundings, a 3/5 with a 2 mid-block, Breaker 2, and Terrain. Terrain meaning, as a static, only 1 terrain can exist in play at a given time, so if our rival has a terrain and we build our Twisty Surroundings, it would destroy our rival's terrain. As an enhance, we can spend 1 momentum, change the zone of this attack to any other zone, playable while committed, and playable by either player. So yes, your rival will be able to rezone your attacks, but you can also rezone your attacks and your rival's attacks to make sure that it's either harder to block or you're guaranteed to block their attack. And then response commit, after your rival makes a check to play an attack, that check gets -2. Failing the check will not end the combat phase. So it's useful with all this Breaker. Breaker is one of my favorite forms of defense, so is check hacking. It's one of my favorite forms of defense, so having a lot of Breaker, a lot of check hacking on a character that's kind of squishy with that 22 health is really cool, especially with all of these assets being able to be free built by Bishop just for checking them. And then we have Team Dr. Ichigaki, a 2/5 with a 2 mid-block, ally, and unique. Response remove, after a non-keyword ability is played on a non-character card, cancel it. So as long as it's not a colored keyword on the card or an ability on a character, we can just cancel anything that gets in our way. Next we have actions. We've got Equipment Heist. This is a 5/6 with no block. It's a scheme, and all of the schemes you'll see in the TMNT set have no block, so they are kind of dangerous, but they're very worth it. As a static, it does not count towards progressive difficulty. As a first form, we get to draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So first form is the first card we play, the first ability we try to use after drawing up our hand. And then enhance, card pool your turn. So we can only use this enhance while this card is in our card pool during our turn. If we have 3 or more attacks in our card pool, search our deck or discard pile for 1 asset and build it. So we can go through our entire deck and build any asset we choose on our minimum 3rd attack. So on our 3rd attack, our 4th attack, our 5th attack, we can constantly, as long as we can keep drawing and playing attacks, we can keep building as many assets as we want and build this massive stage of assets. It's really cool. Next we have Wipe Out All Humans, another scheme, 5 difficulty, 6 control. It also does not count towards progressive difficulty. As a first form, our rival's next check gets -2. So because these are both first forms, if we drew both of them at once, we would have to pick which one we want to play that turn. But our rival's next check getting -2, very solid. Enhance card pool, your attack gets +2 damage. So again, with Bishop providing speed, this is a way to find some of that damage we need to kind of carry us through. And of course, can't have an evil, fire, or void character without Barrier Shield. This is a 2/5, 2 high block, ally keyword. As a static, it does not count towards progressive difficulty. As an enhance, we can remove it, reduce this attack's speed to 0. The next check you play this turn gets Breaker 2. So again, very solid defense piece here. And then as another enhance, our rival cannot add cards to their hand during this attack due to their non-character effects. So no fearsome transformations, no latent skills, no way to draw a whole bunch of attacks. So pretty good. And then for our backup, we have Mechazoid. It's a 2-4, or 2-5, 4 stamina, 2 mid-block, ally, and tech. As a static, we are allowed to play up to 8 copies of this card in our deck. So, kind of breaking the deck building there, but pretty good. Another static, our abilities treat this card as an asset. So if we check this in Bishop, we can build it, because it's treated as an asset. If we have these and we play Trigger Transformation counts our Mechazoids for its difficulty reduction. Machine Mayhem can commit Mechazoids in order to pass the check to play it. So that's really, really good. Enhance commit your attack. So we can only commit this during our attack for this ability. Your rival commits 1 foundation. So getting a bunch of these built up and then just committing your rival down in a character that's already giving speed is really, really good. And then response, after this card is destroyed, draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So we can blow this up for chucking cars, get +2 damage, draw 1 card and discard 1 card with Mechazoid, and then draw an extra card with the Blitz on chucking cars. And all the while, we didn't give up one of our strong assets here, we blew up a Mechazoid, which maybe we can build back in with Equipment Heist, because it is an asset, according to our effects, so it is both an asset and a backup, so we can build it in again. So, pretty cool way to cycle that. Onto our foundations. We have Code Edits. This is a 3-5, 1 mid-block, unique and tech. As a static, our abilities treat this card as an asset. So again, this is really cool. We can blow this up with chucking cars for +3 speed. We could build this in with Bishop to have another foundation. We can free build a foundation during our rival's turn and maybe pass a check that we otherwise couldn't have. Blitz, response, flip. After our rival plays a Blitz ability, cancel that ability. So we can just flip. We've usually seen this on actions to cancel Blitz abilities, but this is just flip, cancel a Blitz ability, keep my foundation. That is incredibly powerful. We've got Extra Supplies, a 3-5, 2 high block, and the tech keyword. Again, as a static, our abilities treat this card as an asset. That's incredible to be able to free build foundations because we're treating them as assets and keep our strings going once per turn is really, really powerful. And then response flip, after you make a check, you may commit assets as though they were foundations to pass that check. Normally, you cannot commit assets to pass the checks, to pass checks. So to be able to do that in a clutch, maybe say on a block that we know we need to block, and we can say, cool, we're going to just turn all of our Mechazoids sideways because they're treated as assets to pass the check to play this block or this final attack. This is just such a huge uncommon for asset-based decks, and it makes playing assets less of a nuisance because one of the main things is if you draw a whole bunch of assets, you're not going to be able to pass your checks. But if you have extra supplies, you can. So that is such a huge thing. So if you have any way to unflip extra supplies or code edits, very, very powerful. Next we have Hunting Mutants, a 2-5, 2 mid-block, enhance flip. This attack gets +1 damage for each asset in your stage, maximum 5. So this also includes your code edits and extra supplies. It also counts your Mechazoids. So you can get +5 damage on a flip very, very easily. And again, with Bishop providing the speed, that's kind of all you need. Of course, we have Moment of Normalcy, 2-5, 3 high block, unique keyword. Enhance commit, return this attack to its printed speed or damage. So if we need to block it, we return it to printed speed. If we know we can take it on the chin, return it to its printed damage. We have Rifle Arm, a 2-5 with a 3 low block, weapon keyword. Enhance commit. This attack gets +2 or -2 speed. If it is the only attack in its owner's card pool, it gets +3 or -3 speed instead. So pretty good trying to push an attack through or to guarantee we block an attack. We have Incubating, 1/5, 3 low block. Enhance, remove 1 card from your discard pile. This attack gets -1 speed. So again, it's more speed hate, it's spam, it's a low block, it's pretty good. For more check hacking, we have Fighting for Control, a 2/4 with a 3 high block. Response, rival's turn flip. After your rival makes a check to play a non-foundation card, that check gets -2. Failing that check will not end the combat phase. So, pretty cool. It's along with Twisty Surroundings and Breaker, it's a lot of just forcing your rival to commit a lot more extra resources so that Bishop's speed can push your attacks over the finish line. More speed hate, we have Defending Pageant Queen, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance, remove, reduce attack speed to 1. It's pretty blockable at that point, so pretty good. We have Hurling Insults, a 2/5 with a 2 high block and the taunt keyword, which is cool. Response, commit. After your rival blocks with a non-foundation card, they lose 1 health. This can reduce your rival to 0 health, so very dangerous if your rival wants to try to block with non-foundation cards, which usually, with attacks and such, have better block modifiers. So when we're boosting our speed, we're trying to force a rival to use those worse block modifiers to try to guarantee that our attacks go through. And lastly, we have Reboot, a 2/5 with a 2 high block and the tech keyword. Enhance, sacrifice, return this attack to its printed speed and damage. Your rival may discard 1 attack or backup card to cancel this effect. So unless you're playing against a backup-centric deck, this just gets an attack out of your rival's hand, or their attack becomes much more manageable, which is the kind of technique a 7-hand size kind of control character really wants to make use of. And that is all for Bishop for this Day 0 build. Again, as I've said in my previous Day 0 builds, I'm building these without any other cards from pre-constructed decks. So no Challenger Series, no starter decks, no Clash decks. Trying to make this as newer user-player friendly as possible, as approachable as possible, so you don't have to go buy like 2 or 3 different $30 decks to get just a handful of cards. So if you wanted to see like a more advanced version of this deck, I am asking for people's opinions. If you want to see more advanced versions of these characters using some of those pre-constructed deck cards and some more like expensive and strong cards, if enough people want that, I will design and release bigger, more advanced versions of these characters at a later date after the Day Zeros are done, and possibly after my week-long hiatus that I'm probably going to take after these. But let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.